man, when I stopped giving a shit what other people thought,
Oh.
that was like, I mean, there's still moments where I consider that, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's like, I just do what I want to do. I
Yeah.
don't care what people say.
Yeah.
That's a really important mindset to have.
Yeah, it's funny, like, and I don't know if you think about this ever, but sometimes I think about, like, not in, like, I'm curious, and I think it's interesting to think about, like, I'm like, I wonder what people who knew me in high school think about me now. Not from, like, caring what other people think
Right.
about version, but just, like, I'm so different, and I'm so, like, I've changed so much. Like, I don't know, faith wasn't very important to me in high school. Like, I didn't do certain things because my friends didn't do them, and I tried to fit in, and I tried to be a part of this group and posse and whatever because I care what other people think of me. I cared about my social status. I cared about my image, all these different things. So I'm like, I wonder what, like, they think about me wearing a Jesus is King shirt and getting a cross tattoo and all that. It's just kind of funny.
Man,
like, not in a negative way,
right.
but in just like a, that's kind of funny way.
Well, we were kind of talking about it earlier where, like, don't try to be average. Everybody wants to be normal and be kind of like everybody else, I think, to fit in because it seems like the right thing to do. But you just have to, I think, to get where you want to go in life, you have to be different. You have to ignore all that shit and just do what you want to do and just not care what other people think.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's tie this all back to Ultraman. So I haven't even talked about Ultraman really. So you did the 6 mile swim, 6.2 mile swim. I saw a video you were like swimming through like muck.
Oh,
like,
dude.
I don't know what it was, but
Dude, so last year the swim got canceled because like it was in this open area of this lake and the winds picked up. So they thought, okay, well, we're going to put it in this like side section of the lake that's not like very as active, so the water's a bit more still, so that even if the winds pick up, it won't get canceled. But I think what happened was a couple days before there was this big rain, and so all the runoff came into this area and it just sat in there. So we were swimming through like tree branches. Like I had a tree branch hit my head, and do you know those like things I think we call them burrs, like those prickly things that attach to you.
yeah.
Those in like bushes.
They're like
typically.
super sharp.
Yeah. There were those in the water.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so my like, because the water also was like 60 degrees, so it was cold. So I was wearing like gloves and booties and like a head cap, like a thermal cap. And so these burrs were like attaching to my hands, and I'm like, why do my hands feel like they weigh more? And I was prickling these things off. But it was, and this is a powerful mindset to have. I was going through that, and at first I was like, man, this sucks. Like, man, I wish if we could just have clear water conditions, it would be amazing. Like I didn't plan for that. All my swimming was in a pool. I didn't even do any open water swims before this. And I thought back to a video that I had seen from Jocko Willink, and it was like this video compilation or talking of him where basically when someone brought him a problem, he would say good.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that
embracing it.
Yeah, that mindset of embracing it because it's going to make you better. And dude, I turned on that mindset and I was like, good, because if I have to deal with it, everyone else has to deal with it. And if I just have a stronger mindset than them, I'll probably do better. And I ended up being like the 5th out of the water.
Jeez.
So
okay, so we crushed the swim.
And also too, just small thing to interrupt you on. I don't think I came in 5th out of the water because of my strength and ability. The reason I say that is because there were probably 4 people that finished within 5 minutes of my swim time. So like they were right after out of the water for me. So yeah.
So you had a little bit of an edge, just
mindset
wise, probably.
I think so.
So you crushed the swim, and then from the 6.2 mile swim, you go right into a how many mile bike?
90
mile bike. Was that first day like? I mean, that's a long time to be out there, but how was that first day compared to the next 2?
First day was definitely easier.
Yeah.
The end of the swim, you feel a little disoriented because you're like lying prone for so long.
Right.
And then you stand up and you're walking, you're like hobbling back and forth.
You're in the water for about 4 hours?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So think about like laying down and swimming for 4 hours, exercising, and then trying to stand up after. And then you pull off your wetsuit and your hands are kind of frozen because it's so cold. And then you also have all this muck even inside of your wetsuit from that. So I had to clean that off, and right out of because you're up in the mountains, like the lake was so beautiful. It was right alongside the mountains, like right in between. But to get out of that park, you're riding through the mountains. So you're on these like roads where cars are whizzing by you at 65 miles per hour, going down these big hills, doing these big climbs. And I'm like, I was, you want to take advantage of the downhill, but I was on my brakes a little bit because I didn't want to, speed wobble into the main road, or I wanted to be safe. So
that's scary, dude.
It was, dude.
Because it's such a long course that they
can't shut it down.
Yeah. So it was on highways for the most part?
Pretty much. Yeah. They did their best to like keep it on less trafficked roads, but there were a couple there that were.
Jeez. So you finish up the first day.
Yeah. I felt strong throughout that. And I was like proud of that effort, because by the end of it, I felt like I could go longer. I felt strong. So.
Yeah, because that's comparable to doing like an Ironman. Because that first day took you how many hours?
9.5.
9. So that's like even shorter than an Ironman probably, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Ironmans, but okay. So you get up the next day, and you have a 170-mile bike.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that go?
So here's a funny thing on the first day of the bike, and then the first 90 miles, and then the second 171. So I had an amazing crew, but I didn't tell them as much as I probably should have before going into the race. So they didn't know necessarily what was required of them. And so they got lost one time. And so I went for 40 or 50 miles without a crew when I was wanting to see people every 17 miles.
Oh, jeez.
So nearly like three lengths without a crew when I would have needed to see them twice.
Were you without fuel for those miles?
I didn't get fueled. No, so I had stuff in my in your bike you have like this little bag pocket. So I had like gels and stuff in there, and waters and a couple different bottles and containers. But yeah, I shouldn't have been able to last that long and do so well. Like my performance was not affected one bit because of that. And people can say what they want to say, but I think that's God working in my life, dude. That fuel was able to stretch way further than it should have. And I should have bonked or something because I didn't get that. And I was able to just power through. So
how far into the 170 miles did that happen?
So, well, on the first day that happened from mile 18.
Oh, it happened twice?
Yeah. So,
oh, jeez.
So mile 17 to 50. So that's
damn,
33 miles.
Yeah.
And then it was something to 60.
It would be
maybe
so
20
easy.
to 60.
It would be so easy in those moments to be like, fuck it. I just pull over on the side of the road. I don't want to keep going. I don't have my fuel. This just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when that happened? Twice.
Well, I was kind of I was mad at my crew for a sec because I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? But then in my head I was like, oh no, it's probably not their fault. Something probably came up out of their control, or who knows, maybe it was my fault. I don't know. So I was mad at them at first, but then I talked myself into being more accepting of it and realizing me being mad isn't going to do anything. And if you think about it, no one intends to do wrong, really. A lot of people, there's a reason things happen a certain way. And so it was probably just a mistake. And I knew that if I got too much in the dumps about it, it was going to affect my race. And so I just kept going.
Yeah, that seems super crucial to have that mindset in that moment.
It adds more to the story.
That's right.
If that wouldn't have happened, me and my crew will remember that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. So after the 170-mile bike, how was it in between the days, like in the evenings? Did you just go and just house a bunch of food and try and get rest, or what did you do in between?
So they had a massage person
Oh.
at the finish line. So I had them work on me, ate a bunch of food. Yeah, just also like got my bottles and stuff ready for the next day. Tried to look at the course for the next day, make adjustments with my crew. But yeah, for the most part, I tried to just get to bed as fast as possible.
Did you have any issues with your bike? Because I know that seems to be a very common thing with tris.
Hand to God, dude. I didn't have one issue
Wow.
on my bike. Someone there got a flat 3 times in an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't have one.
And that's totally out of your control, right?
Totally. Like yeah, because you be prepared as best you can with like extra tubes and a bike pump and stuff like that. And there's also the bike mechanic. But think about it, over 171 miles, people like get spread out in between. Like the first guy, I don't even know times, but the first guy finished hours ahead of the last person. So if you're the bike person and maybe you're working on someone and then someone else gets a flat, you need to finish up, and then it could be an hour drive to the next person.
So the race had a bike, like maintenance or repair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
That's
specialized mechanic, which is, I'm sure, super helpful for those who needed
Yeah.
it. But really, depending on, like, who knows, things could happen where you have a bike issue and it takes an hour off your time. And if you're coming in already thinking, oh, I'm going to be tight on time, and then you get a bike issue, that could steal your race. And going into it, I was thinking I was going to take 10 to 11 hours every day. Because that's the thing about these races is you have no idea, really. I mean, you can guess, but you don't really know what time you're going to come
There's
in.
so many variables.
Like, we've talked about this. It's so different from running a marathon where you do certain workouts where you pretty much know what your pace is going to be. Versus this, it's something you've never done before. And you don't know how the first day is going to affect your bike the second day. You don't know, for instance, the second day, the very beginning, we had headwinds, like crazy headwinds. Like I was pedaling hard and I was going 14 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
Like
that's like my fast bike. I'm not strong on a bike.
well, you get the right bike and you've been training for months on
I'll
biking.
blame it on the bike.
Yeah. But yeah, so like going like 13, maybe 12, even 11. When I'd be cranking, I just on like a flat road, I'd be going 20, 21, 22. And then like fast downhills, I'd be going 30.
Yeah.
So like that's really slow because of the headwind.
Right.
And so I don't know, there's just so many different factors like we talked about, but through that, you just have to keep that positive mindset because if you, and maybe this is a mental experiment, if you start thinking, and everyone's going to be able to relate to this, if you start thinking about negative things like, oh, I wish this went a certain way. I'm so mad that this person didn't respond to me. I wish I would be here right now. Like, I just feel bad just thinking about that and just giving that example. Versus if you think, oh, man, I'm so grateful to be here. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Like, man, the sun is shining. I got 2 legs. Like, literally, the simplest stuff. If you just start rehearsing that in your mind, it will completely change your state and then allow you to perform better. And that's one thing that I think helped me perform so much better than I thought I would is like that mental state.
Dude, the mind is the most powerful tool we have.
Yeah.
And you can use it to your advantage or you can let it mess you up.
Yeah. And I've let it mess me up before, but I'm like, man, I want to use it to my advantage.
Dude, so finish up the 170-mile bike.
Yeah.
And then the last day, the third day, is a 52-mile run, a double marathon.
Yeah.
How'd that go? How are your legs after the first 2 days?
Dude, they were tired. We had a little ice bath after the second day. That helped. But also, too, I don't know if you've ever sat on a bike for a couple hours.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the area where the saddle goes, like in your butt or just wherever that goes, you get sore, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so I was walking around kind of funny after the 2 days of biking, but really my legs weren't super sore.
It's a very unnatural position to be in.
Yeah, it's
for
weird.
for basically 2 days straight.
Well, especially if you're in aero position
Yeah.
and you're not used to it. Like my low back was a little tight too. But yeah, so I'll tell you what. After I finished the second day and I'm in 9th place overall, I was getting a couple texts from people I know. Like Steve texted me encouraging me, and then my triathlon coach texted me, and someone texted me. It was Natasha, and she goes something like, "Podium is in sight. Like you still haven't gotten to the run yet. You got this. Like you can do it," or something like that. So essentially, just encouraging me, and like I forget the exact text, but it was really powerful in what I needed right then. And I went from thinking, oh man, I'm gonna just run hard, to like, oh man, like what's possible if I really run hard? Because in triathlon there's 3 things. There are 3 different sports, and running's obviously my best, and it was the last day I was running. And so it put something in my mind where like, man, I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna even more than I was going to before, just lay it all out there. And yeah, I shocked myself on that last day.